Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Here's a little sneak peek at what we're going to work on. Now I made a pair of pink chevron earrings last September or October for breast cancer awareness, but I had never painted on the leather using a stencil, and so that's what I did here. So if you like this look, stick around and I'll show you my process. Now, if there is something in the video that you like, it's inspiring, or you just enjoy watching it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see what I'll be working on in the future, hit that subscribe button. Now, on to the video. Now, I went online to download a chevron pattern into Cricut Design Space. I found that the patterns really weren't that high quality, and so I'm going to try to make one myself. So I'm going to start with clicking on shapes. I'll select a square. I need to unlock this so I can make it into a rectangle, and I need to make it a lot smaller. That looks pretty good, so I'll go ahead and lock that back. Now I want to rotate this by, I think, 45 degrees. Yes. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that 3 times. And this last one, I'm going to go ahead and take it and flip it horizontal. And then I'll duplicate it 2 more times. Okay, so let me drag this down here, and then one going the other direction. Let's bring that one to the front. Now I just want to kind of line them up in a chevron pattern. Let's go ahead and see what happens if I weld these. Okay, that looks good. So now, actually, I just realized, let's just duplicate this. Let's get rid of all these. And we'll duplicate this. Again, we'll layer it. Let's see what we get if we weld those two together. Okay, that's off a little bit there. Let me try to fix that. I'll blow that up so I can see the details better. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what happens when we weld it. Okay, that's not too bad. You have this little thing here, which I can fix. Let's go ahead and get a square and then make it smaller. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of the square. Make it a little smaller yet. I'm going to move it down here and get it at about the same angle as what this little leg of the chevron is. Now let's see if we can't slice off that little imperfection. Okay, that didn't quite do it. So let's click back, back, back. Okay, I'm going to rotate this just a little bit more. All right. Okay, that looks good. So we'll get rid of the excess here. Now, let's do one more duplication. So there is our basic chevron pattern. I want 6 of these. So I'm going to duplicate it 5 times. And then let's go ahead and line those up. So I'll click Align. After selecting all of them, click Align, center horizontally. That looks pretty good. I think they're a little too close together. I'll spread them out just a little bit. Now you don't have to get this perfect because Cricut Design Space has a little function that you can do to make it perfect. See, that's very imperfect. We're going to select all of those. We're going to do 2 things. We're going to center it horizontally. Then we're going to go back, align, and distribute vertically. That will make it where each of these white spaces is equal. And I love that feature. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach all these together. And let's just lay it over the earring. It's way too big right now, so let's make it smaller. And a little smaller. Let me take both of these shapes, center horizontally. Okay, so if I were using heat transfer vinyl instead of using this as a stencil, so let's say I wanted to cut these out of heat transfer vinyl and just adhere them on. First, let me hide this. First, I'd have to weld all these together. So let's say weld, and then I would have to select both shapes, slice, and I could pull this away, and here's what I have. But that's not what I want to do. I want to use this as a stencil. So I want to keep the excess vinyl that will go over the side. Now that I like my shapes, I'll go ahead and duplicate both of those, and then I'm ready to send it to the maker. Then for purposes of the stencil, I'm just using this Oracal 631. It's a huge roll that I got off of Amazon, and I will link to that in the description. This is just a scrap that I had off that roll. Now, even though this is a purple mat, which usually means strong grip, it's so old and not very sticky. So I have deemed it a standard grip mat. Since I'm going to use this as a stencil, I actually need to remove the pieces where I want color. So I'm going to leave the background on and remove the little chevron stripes. So I'm a weeding tool here. Just poke in one of the stripes and pull it up. All right, so it is time to cut our leather. I'll go ahead and change out my blade. For the leather, I need the deep point blade, and that is in this black housing. And you can see it's a really long blade. It sticks out of the housing further than a fine point blade does. Okay, that's a really nice cut, but I do have a little fraying, so as always, I'll clean them up with my super sharp scissors. These are some Fiskars Amplify Razor Edge. Okay, I think that's good for now. If I need to do a little more cleaning, I will before I show them at the end. Okay, here's a little piece of clear contact paper. I'm going to use it to transfer my stencil to my leather. And I like to just peel up one side and then get it laid down and smoothed out, and then just pulled across as I'm pressing down to get it to adhere. Now I like using the clear because when you go to put something down, you can see right through it to know where your design is going to be. Okay, so the paints I'm using are Apricot, Tropic Orange, and Outrageous Orange. I'm going to do 2 stripes of each color. Hopefully I have 6. Yes, okay, 2 stripes of each color, kind of in an ombre fashion. I think I'm going to start though with a layer of this matte finish Mod Podge. If there's any cracks or crevices under the stencil, and this is a slightly textured leather, so there might be little gaps. Hopefully this will fill it in, and that way when I put the paint on, the paint won't go in those little cracks and crevices. So I'm just going to paint a very thin coat of this on. And then I'm going to let that dry for just about 10-15 minutes. So I want my colors to be in this order. I'll start with my apricot. And then I can see on the very edge little gaps. I'm going to try to hold that down. Okay, I can already tell it's going to take at least 2 coats. I'm just going to wipe my brush off. Hopefully that works well enough. And then 2 rows of this Tropic Orange. And then lastly, 2 rows of this Outrageous Orange. Okay, let's see how one more little coat works on these earrings. Now if you see an area on your leather that's not very smooth, like the paint has a brush stroke or lumps or something, go ahead and brush those out because they're not going to get a lot better as it dries. It might settle in some, but I think it's better to flatten them out or smooth them out as you go. I think I might have just barely touched the corner of the paint above it. So let me go ahead and fix that. Okay, I think that's going to be good. I'll go wash my brush, and I'll probably go ahead and remove the stencil just as soon as I get back. Okay, let's see how this turned out. Makes me a little nervous to do this. Nah. That's what I should have done, is just tried to get one stripe off at a time. Those are really cute. Now I can see some little imperfections. The main thing is my paint did bleed a little bit under some of the striping. And it looks like a little bit of that paint pulled up right there. So I'm going to take this tiny little paintbrush and just a little bit of white paint. And with hopefully a very steady hand, cover that up. Then I see one orange area right here. I'm going to try to add a little bit back. It looks like maybe a little pulled up with the stencil. Now, if anyone sees the little imperfections that are left, they are just too close to me. I have one more area I'm going to play with, and then I'm going to call it good. Well, I say that, and then the perfectionist in me wants to fix everything I see. That's good. That's it. I'll wash my brush out. I painted my other earring, and then I sprayed both earrings with a coat of this clear acrylic sealer by Mod Podge. It has a matte finish. I added my hardware, and here's the final product. I think they are adorable. With painting, you don't get the perfect, super sharp lines like you would if you are adhering heat transfer vinyl to the earrings. But I just love these. It opens up a whole new range of colors for me. To go out and buy 3 colors of heat transfer vinyl would be very expensive, And when you can buy a little bottle of paint for anywhere from 50 cents to $2, it makes it really affordable. And these are paints I had on hand. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you watching and all your support. I'm Marilyn. Bye-bye.